All right, let's move into metric units of volume. So the base unit of volume is 1 liter. And since milli equals 1,000, 1,000 milliliters is the same thing as 1 liter. 1 liter is the amount of volume that would fit in a cube that's 10 centimeters wide by 10 centimeters long by 10 centimeters high. And if you catch me in the lab, let me show you this. We have a little plexiglass container that's 10 by 10 by 10. If we fill that container with water and then move that to a graduated cylinder, which is a device we can use to measure volume, you will see that equals 1 liter or 1,000 milliliters. Okay, that means that 1 milliliter equals 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, or 1 centimeter cubed. Another way people sometimes say a cubic centimeter is cc. So you could also call this a cc. And you'll hear this on medical shows if they say, I need 5 cc's of this medicine, stat. That means they need 5 milliliters. So cc is another word for milliliter, cubic centimeter. A teaspoon has about 5 milliliters or 5 cubic centimeters. A can of pop is about 355 milliliters. A quart of milk, which is the small kind of plastic jug or cardboard jug, is 946 milliliters. So quart is an imperial measure. And gallon, also an imperial measure. So the big jug of milk is just less than 4 liters. So if we're converting metric volume, we're going to do that in much the same way we did weight. So 4 liters, we're going to start step 1 here is going to be to write that over 1. Step 2 is going to be to find your conversion factor. So here we want liters on the bottom and milliliters on the top because we're trying to convert to milliliters. Our liters are going to cancel then, and here we're left with 4,000 milliliters. So our answer here would be 4,000 milliliters. Okay, let's try a few together. So we have 3,500 milliliters. This time we're converting to liters. Okay, so step 1, we're going to write that over 1. Step 2, we need to decide on a conversion factor. So here we want milliliters on the bottom so that they'll cancel out, and we want our answer to be left in liters. So let's go look at our formula sheet. And so if I look at the conversion factors page, this time we're looking under volume, and you'll see 1,000 milliliters equals 1 liter. So we've got 1 liter for every 1,000 milliliters. Our milliliters are going to cancel here. And so our answer then is going to be 3,500 divided by 1,000. And feel free to use your calculator on these. That will leave us with 3.5 liters. So our answer here then is 3.5. Okay, next one. This time we have a unit of measure we don't see a lot, centiliters. Okay, we have 30 centiliters and we want to convert that into milliliters. Okay, so first of all, let's make it a fraction over 1. Second step, well, I don't have centiliters on my conversion factors page, so let's move one page over to our staircase. And if we look at volume, that third staircase there, we can do this one of 2 ways. I'm going to start with the conversion factor way. So you'll see that 1 centiliter is listed on the same kind of staircase as 0.01 liters. That means that those 2 measures are the same thing. So 1 centiliter is the same as 0.01 or 1/100th of a liter. So if I'm doing a conversion factor, then I want centiliters on the bottom so that they'll cancel. This is extra hard to do on using my conversion factors. That's okay. I'm going to put liters on the top. We'll get to milliliters in our next step. Okay, so I see there that I've got 1 centiliter per 0.01 liters or 1/100th of a liter. Centiliters is going to cancel out. That's going to leave us with what? 30 times 0.01 is going to leave us with 0.3 liters. Now we still have to make it to milliliters though. So now we're going to want to make that over 1. We want liters on the bottom, milliliters on the top. And if you look at that conversion factor chart, you'll see that 1 milliliter equals 0.001 liter. And so if we do that calculation, what do we get? So we have 0.3 divided by 0.001 equals, and that gives us 300. So our answer here is 300 milliliters. Now you might be saying, well, there's actually an easier way to do that. And you're right. If you use the staircase, centiliters is 1 over from the left. And to get to milliliters, we have to go 1 stair to the right, which means our decimal is going to go 1 stair to the right. So we started at 30. 30 is a whole number, so the decimal comes right after it. We want to move that decimal 1 over to the right, which will give us 300. So if you use the staircase method, you can do that problem in 1 step instead of 2. Okay, next question. 5 liters equals how many milliliters? So we have 5 liters. I'm going to write that over 1. Now we want to multiply by a conversion factor that's going to cancel out the liters and leave us with milliliters. So pause this video and see if you can figure out that conversion factor. Okay, and hopefully you had a chance to think about the conversion factor. We want liters to cancel, so liters is going to be on the bottom, milliliters is going to be on the top, and there's 1,000 milliliters for every 1 liter if you're using your conversion factors. Or if you happen to use your staircase, you would have got this. Oops, hang on. You would have found 1 milliliter is the same thing as 0.001 liters. These two methods are equivalent. Either way, you will end up with an answer here of 5,000. So your answer here is 5,000 milliliters. Okay, let's try that using the staircase approach as well. So we're starting at liters. We're moving 1, 2, 3 staircases over to the right to get to milliliters. So our decimal here was at the 5. It's moving 3 over to the right, and that leaves us with the 5,000. All right. Go ahead and pause the video and try the next 3 on your own. Okay, let's try this D together. So we've got 7,500 milliliters, and we're converting that into liters. So our milliliters is going on the bottom, liters on top. There's 1,000 milliliters for every 1 liter. So we divide our 7,500 by the 1,000 to end up with our answer of 7.5 liters. Next one, okay, we have 550 mils. And we want to get to centiliters. So if you do this using the conversion factors, we're going to have to, unless you have that conversion factor, which we don't on our sheet, we're going to have to do that in 2 steps. So we're going to convert that into liters first. So we're going to multiply that by, we want milliliters on the bottom and liters on the top. There's 1,000 milliliters for every liter. So that leaves us with 0.55 liters. Milliliters cancel. Now we have 0.55 liters, and we multiply that by, so if I look at my chart, I have 1 centiliter for every point, so every 100th or 0.01 of a liter. And so if we multiply that, 0.55 times 0.01, we get an answer. That is incorrect. What did I do wrong here? Oh, look at me. I have liters on the top and on the top. So let's redo that. We want our liters to cancel here. So liters is on the bottom, centiliters is on the top. And so we have 1 centiliter for every 0.01 liter. Now our liters can cancel. And we have 0.55 divided by 0.01. And that will give you 55 centiliters. I suspect most of you said, well, wait a minute, the staircase was way easier to do that. And that's fine. So if you use the staircase, we start at milliliters on the very bottom rung of that staircase. We're going 1 over to the left, which means our decimal goes 1 over to the left. So our decimal started at 550. And now it's moved 1 over the left to 55. Okay, next one. We have 5 liters. We want to convert that to centiliters. So I'm going to multiply by a conversion factor that gets rid of my liters and leaves me with centiliters. And there's 1 centiliter for every 0.01 liters. So if we do that multiplication, we've got 5 times 1 gives us 5 divided by 0.01 on the bottom gives us 500. So our answer here would be 500 centiliters. Okay, and if you want to do that using the staircase, we would be starting at liters. We're moving 2 over to the right, which means our decimal moves 2 over to the right. These last two are just a test that you understand that cubic centimeters are the same thing as milliliters. So if you have 5 centimeters cubed, and you can write this on your formula sheet, I suggest you write there. I don't think it's already listed. So you can write there 1 centimeter cubed equals 1 mil, just to remind yourself that those two things mean the same thing. So if we have 5 centimeters cubed, we want to multiply by a conversion factor that's going to get rid of the centimeters cubed and leave our answer in milliliters. Well, 1 centimeter cubed gives us 1 milliliter. So we just have to answer or multiply our answer by 1. In other words, it's going to be the same thing. So we end up with 5 milliliters here. Last question, here we have liters and we want to get to centimeters cubed. Well, we know how to get from milliliters to centimeters cubed. So let's start by taking that 3 liters and converting it to milliliters. So I'm going to multiply by something that cancels out my liters and leaves me with milliliters. And so if I'm looking on the conversion factors, I'll see 1 liter is the same as 1,000 milliliters. That will cancel out my liters and leave me with 3,000 milliliters. And now I want to get to cubic centimeters. You can either just say, milliliters is the same thing as centimeters, or you can think of it as a conversion factor. We're going to multiply by something that gets rid of our milliliters and leaves us with cubic centimeters. 1 milliliter equals 1 cubic centimeter. So that just leaves me with 3,000 centimeters cubed. And that's it for converting metric units of weight and volume.